In this video, we're going to look at a process called completing the square. That allows us to convert a quadratic from standard form into turning point form. So an example like this. Before we do it, we're just going to have a quick reminder about what an expanded perfect square looks like. So say I've got x minus b squared. If I expand that out, it's going to look like x squared minus 2bx plus b squared. And we're going to use this knowledge to be able to convert that into a turning point form which involves a perfect square. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got x squared minus 6x. I'm just going to leave a gap here, minus 5 equals 0. Now, I can think of that 6x as x squared minus 2 times 3x. Now, if I'm thinking about that, that's going to be my b value that I've got here. So if I add on 3 squared, which gives me 9, and I take away 9 plus 9 minus 9 is 0. So I haven't actually changed the value of my equation. Minus 5 equals 0. So if I'm looking at this section here, there is my perfect square. So that's going to become x minus 3 squared. Now, what I've got here is I've got minus 9 minus 5, which gives us minus 14 equals 0. So therefore, my x squared minus 6x minus 5 equals 0 is the same as x minus 3 squared minus 14 equals 0. So those allows me to have a standard form quadratic and a turning point form quadratic. This now gives me the turning point of my quadratic as being 3, negative 14. I can take this one step further and use this to factorise this. So if I'm looking at now, I've got x minus 3 squared minus 14 equals 0. If I'm looking at, there's a square, and I can think of that as x minus 3 squared, and my minus 14 I can think of as a square root of 14 squared equals 0. So knowing my difference of two squares, a squared minus b squared is going to be written as a minus b times a plus b. So if I think of my x minus 3 squared as a and my square root of 14 as b, I can rewrite that as x minus 3 minus square root 14 multiplied by x minus 3 plus square root of 14 equals 0. So this allows me then to find my two solutions for my quadratic. So I know that using the null factor law, x minus 3 minus square root 14 equals 0. So therefore x equals 3 plus square root 14, or x minus 3 plus 14 equals 0. So x equals 3 minus square root 14. And there are my two solutions.